So firstly, I viewed the list. I searched all the internet. कौन क्या book बोलता है, क्या सही बोलता है. Then I drew my own list that these are the books I will refer. Then I gave 4 months to it to complete the whole course. So then I did a first reading for 4 months of what everything that's static in the syllabus, and along with that, I read Vision Current Affairs. It was my Bible. It's okay, and I was pretty shocked in prelims that not much of it was asked from it. But because it was my Bible, I did not leave it for mains also, because I was so thorough with it. I would know, okay, अगर 4G लिखा है तो वो इस पेज में यहाँ पे लिखा होगा. So I was so thorough with it. But so I did that for 4 months. Then after 4 months, I picked up previous year's question papers, and I tried to reorient my studying, that whether what I'm reading actually gets asked and in what form does it gets asked. Then I started to revise, and I started to add the things, like somewhere, if I in art and culture I felt that 11th class, that Tamil Nadu book is not enough, so I added NCRTs to it. So that kept on adding. I relied heavily on sleepy classes for environment. I tried to do Shankar IAS, because many people say that Shankar IAS book for environment is good. But then it had so many of diagrams. I felt it's so complicated, and that much I cannot retain. So that is also very important. You can read a book, but how much can you retain? You can read a newspaper every day, but how much can you take home? That's the main idea. You have to retain it in your head. So I relied completely for economics and environment on sleepy classes. I did economics, Vivek Singh book also, but then I found that it's not enough. So I relied on sleepy classes. I did Vajiram coaching, but I felt like it just touches like a drop in the ocean. They teach too less, so you come to know that there's so many areas where your preparation is lacking. So firstly you have to complete the whole course, and then you reorient that whether your course is enough or not enough, and then at least revise it 5 times before actually giving prelims. And I would suggest that you should complete your optional 2 times before sitting for prelims, because then after prelims you just get 2 to 3 months. And because prelims have become so random these days, and so many answer keys show so many answers to it, people get confused. Like, I wasted my 15 days after prelims thinking I didn't clear it only. So because the answer keys were so many answer keys were giving so many different my calculation was giving so many different marks to me. So all of this keeps happening. Then you have to keep contingencies also in your plan. Many things, you'll get sick some days, you will have some very important things, so you do have to keep that contingency in your plan. But for mains, what I realized was that what I didn't do, but I thought that I should have done, that I should have had notebooks for GS 1, 2, 3, 4. I started doing it after prelims, but then it was too late for it. I couldn't collect that much of good material. And once you had GS 1, 2, 3, 4 and essay, and your 2 optionals. My optional was political science, so I relied completely on Shubhra Ranjan ma'am for political science. She is completely breathtaking in her subject. Her grip is breathtaking. But if you can't go to coaching because of lack of time or resources, then just rely on her notes. They are good enough. But don't rely entirely for international relations on her notes. They're not suffice, because it's a dynamic thing. It keeps on changing also, so you have to add. That's the thing I did. So I was shocked. I was like, okay, how I faced problem in writing IA because of it. So it's my advice that do not rely fully on it. Then post that I GS 1, 2, 3, 4 essay, and your 2 PSIR. So, and read newspapers, opinions, and editorials. But not all opinions and editorials will have relevance 1 year after, when you will be actually writing mains. Newspaper reading is not that important for prelims, because prelims is very factual. So you can easily do it from Insight India or from sleepy classes. There used to be contest every day. 5 questions, current affairs, yeah, daily. I used to do that. Then you can do it from Vision Current. Just so pick a source and 2, 3 more sources, and it will. You will just have to give 1 to 1.5 hour every day for current affairs. Then. But maintain these notebooks. I used Evernote for it, but as when one pleases, and keep putting out things which you think will have relevance even after a year when we would actually be writing mains, because mains is now becoming a lot. Many vague questions were asked in these this year mains where you had to think, "Acha likhe kya isme?" So you need to have a lot of matter in hand. But mains ka the plus point is that the syllabus is so detailed. You can pick cyber security. Now cyber security mein you should have your own at least 4 to 5 pages of content in it. Cyber security mein kuch bhi puche, at least you can write your content. That much is there, because it's so मतलब आपको समझ ही नहीं आता आप क्या लिखो आंसर में. So you should have at least कि भाई हमें 2 pages भरना है तो हमारे पास 5 pages का content तो होना ही होना चाहिए. That ways. And so I maintained this notebook after prelims, and so because you have just 2 hours to revise for the next main exam that you write, so I could revise my notebook, but I cannot revise the whole all the sources that I've.
True.
And it is very important to revise. I thought that कोई बात नहीं क्या जा रहा है नहीं करेंगे revise because I'm very poor at note making. But then GS1 में आपका दिमाग एकदम अलग चलना चाहिए. आप history से सोचने चाहिए, आप polity से सोचने, आप history से सोचने, आप geography से सोचने चाहिए. फिर 2 घंटे बाद ही आपका एकदम political science में वाला दिमाग चलना चाहिए GS2 के लिए. फिर GS3 में आपको economics आनी चाहिए. तो आपको अपने आप को orient करना पड़ता है दिमाग को. So for which it is very important to revise notebook. And for interview, I again did the same. I maintained my own notebook and I thoroughly did every topic which I've written on my DAF. I invented my own questions because you have to. I created at least 500 questions in my mind that which can be asked, and I prepared an answer for it. And the 2 to 3 months were enough for interview preparation. And you have to keep reading newspaper. Newspaper reading is important for mains and interview. When I was preparing for mains, I read 3 newspapers. When I was preparing for prelims, I didn't read even one. So everything has a different way of approach. Important. In fact, test in every process is very important. I took almost 50 to 60 tests, no 100 tests for prelims, and I revised all of the 100 tests for prelims 3 times because you have to keep doing. Otherwise, आपने जो गलती वहाँ करी है वो आप end में भी करोगे. Mains also I took 2-3 coaching classes, test series. Majorly relied on Vision, which again is a fault because I read Vision and I wrote exam of Vision, so I was scoring great in Vision. But that's not UPSC is about. So definitely don't do this. Read different sources and then appear in different coaching institutes exam test series. Then for interview also I joined 2 to 3 classes for mocks. I came in for sleepy classes and because I was so interested in meeting Shekhar sir because I've only heard his hello on the sleepy classes. So it was great. But it was my first mock, so I was very nervous also. It was not a good. I don't think that I gave that good of an answer which I gave in my other following mocks. So I gave almost 6 to 7 mocks, and they helped me prepare. Okay, this is how the panel is going to ask, and they give invaluable feedback to you, which is very important because anytime you appear for an interview, you want to ask, "मैंने कैसा बोला? मैं अच्छी थी क्या?" So, but you can't do that in UPSC. So if those people who are as learned as them and they are taking many retired officers come in to take interviews, so that gives you a confidence that okay you can face interview, and they also tell you how should you greet them, how should you become more presentable, and it's not that much about knowledge because in an interview no matter what you do you only have 30 seconds to reply. You can't take like good 5 minutes to think कि अच्छा कौन सी book में कहाँ पढ़ा था. So either you know it or you don't know it. And but I felt like they check an interview not how much you know, but how if you're smiling after not knowing it or you're not smiling. Are you under stress or you're not under stress? That counts a lot.